Ravindra Utgikar, currently Vice President at Praj Industries, holds a doctorate in management in addition to electronics and telecommunication engineering. He has immense experience in formulating and implementing business strategies around the world and has authored several articles in leading newspapers and published technical and management papers in international and domestic journals. Dr. Ravindra will be leading this session, and I request him to begin this most awaited discussion.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Manjiri Prabhu and the PILF team for putting such a spectacular festival. Every year, we are seeing that PILF is growing by leaps and bounds and really putting Pune at the top where it belongs when it comes to the cultural capital of Maharashtra. If we continue on this path, I'm sure days are not very far when PILF will have the same repute in the literary world as what Savai Gandharva has in the music world. That's how they will probably prosper, and we will look forward to doing that. The topic that is for the discussion is struggles, strengths, and future is a very contemporary and appropriate topic, particularly given the VUCA environment that we are living in. Just when we were coming out of pandemic, hopefully, we had this prolonged war going on in Europe. Energy and food crisis were triggered out of the war. Further cascading effect resulted into inflation, and then that is derailing the global economy, and projections are that the world may head for recession. While the world economy is on weak wicket, Indian economy continues to hold strong ground. It's easily the bright spot in G20 nations. And therefore, how India will continue to be on that path, how it will continue to negotiate the geopolitical upheavals, what are its challenges, what are the opportunities. Only 15th of November, the world population breached 8 billion mark. And if the reports are to be believed, in 2023, that is coming year, we will be the most populous nation. And not only that, we will have the youngest working population of about 29-year-old. This demographic dividend is for taking. However, it's not that easy. And that's where the struggle parts come in. How to find value-added, meaningful employment for the huge youth population that we have. How will India continue to lead the world economy the way we are seeing they do right now? How the cross-border terror will pan out? How will the environmental challenges, sustainable climate actions redefine the business landscape? Are just some of the challenges that we'll have to negotiate. But one thing for sure, and that nobody has doubt in mind, that India on its way to become a superpower, as the Honorable Prime Minister has stated, that India has a dream to be energy self-sufficient nation and also a developed economy by year 2047. So, for many of us here joining in the auditorium and also online, there are several questions. What then are the struggles? What are the strengths? How do we put those strengths to the use to be able to derive the value out of it? And obviously, what the future holds. We are extremely fortunate to have on the stage two towering personalities, iconic personalities from our very own Pune, who have been there, done that. And Dr. Chaudhary, first generation techno entrepreneur from a small town of Fulton, Kolpewadi in Nagar district. He has gone on to win the most prestigious award and set up an enterprise which is having references over 1,000, over 100 countries and across all 5 continents. And here is Dr. Naushad Forbes, clearly the face of Indian industry globally, think tank par excellence when it comes to complex matters on policy, complex matters on institutional freedom, when it comes to leveraging country's strengths. He has been very active. He headed CII panel as well. So who better than the gentleman can give us some enriching guidance that we can go back and probably use to dovetail our career strategies, our business strategies, and even as citizen, we would be very curious to know how the India outlook is going forward. So, Dr. Chaudhary, if I may start with you, uh, earlier this year, you were awarded with Holmberg Award for your lifetime achievements in bioeconomy. Heartiest congratulations. And you became the first Indian to receive this award. And this was just a follow-up award of the one that you won in 2020, George Washington Carver Award. So you seem to be getting all the global accolades in the bioeconomy. So will you kindly tell us more about these awards? What do they mean to you? What they mean to India? And how the whole bioeconomy canvas is panning out to help India achieve its nationally determined contributions. Dr. Chaudhary.
First of all, thank you, PILF, for giving this opportunity to be sharing the dais with Naushad. Itself is a big honor. It's always a pleasure. Yeah? And I worked with Naushad as a part of CI when I was managing the bioeconomy committee. That time it was called Bioenergy Committee. Bioeconomy got coined later on. Well, so this is for the appreciation of the organizers. I'm sure there are more people on the online than in the audience, but I'm sure they'll be definitely listening to what's happening here. I remember once upon a time, myself and Naushad, we just exchanging notes that we went from colleges to colleges. I remember the persuading the students of engineering colleges that IT is not everything. That time the rush was going only for IT, and there were not many people were there for the manufacturing, designing, because we feel that the designing is suffering, especially in a city like Pune, and it has been the strength of the country, strength of the city. We tried our bit to convince and persuade the students if they can really work in the industry and not only go to IT. Sometimes you feel surprised that so much qualified people, they go just join the information technology. Well, that's for the beginning. Now coming to your specific question of this Holmberg Award.
Yes.
Holmberg Award is an award in recognition of the services for renewable energy, bioeconomy, all related things. And it goes to prove that India is being recognized in the foreign platforms, especially the USA, which has done a lot of work in this area. They're recognizing India for the strength which has been shown by the current government and the roadmap they are drawn, they declared. To cite few things, they declare that they would like to go for 20% blending of ethanol in petrol by 2025. Massive task. Even USA is not nowhere near that. And that is something which makes them really look at the situation, what is making India click so much. There are so many other policies of Indian government which are helping biomass to ethanol, second generation ethanol. And luckily, this being a niche area, my company took very major strides and established the reference. And that was getting recognized across the 7 seas by these people that yes, this country and the company are capable of doing something innovative and which is the need of the hour. So I'm happy that it was recognized in the global context. I don't know whether I should take some more time to just dwell on the purpose of this innovation which we have been doing. It is to take care of the climate action as a part of the climate action, part of replacing oil imports, partly giving a impetus to the rural economy. So all in one, all objectives are getting addressed, and that is what is, I think, is very amazing with respect to this biofuel, bioenergy, and that is where we are trying to do a bit of our work. We definitely feel we are leader in this space, more than 70%, 75% of the business, and some areas we have taken very daring steps to introduce new technology. So by and large, these are the reasons perhaps they consider fit to give me this kind of recognition. And George Washington Carver was 2 years back, or 2 years back, who was the pioneer of industrial biotech.
Yes.
Industrial biotechnology is a new subject which he actually started, in which your biochemicals, biofuels, everything comes from the plant-based material. And that's where he did a pioneering work. So these are the two awards came in our way, was actually the recognition of Indian strength more than me, myself, my company, or also the country's strength. And people have started looking seriously. Bioeconomy meets almost 12 of the 17 SDGs. That's one of the major, very important aspect, and that is also being respected. Yes, this is a good thing for the point of view of taking care of SDGs. So I think I said enough just now for starting the point.
So if I understand you correctly, all this decarbonization, low carbon fuels contribute to India's fulfillment of nationally determined contributions at sustainable climate action. All right, thank you. Naushad, can I come to you? I had opportunity to read this book, The Struggles, the Promise, and Restoring Potential of India. And I think even the name is so catchy that I think even our session is inspired by this name. Already doing rounds as one of the best sellers. So many eminent personalities like Manmohan Singh ji, Raghuraman Rajan. In fact, from all spheres of life, people are welcoming the book. I also heard you speak at the Jaipur festival about the book. So it's being received extremely positively. Without giving away too much in a limited time, would you like to tell us what was the genesis of writing this book and when you started penning it down? Because I have read through and it's exhaustive research that has gone into it. So, and probably some highlights about the book.
Sure. Thank you, Ravi. And it's, as Pramod said, it's wonderful to be at the Pune Literature Festival because,
Karma Bhumi,
I was in Jaipur, I was in Bombay and a few other places. And it's good that we have a literature festival in our own city.
Sure.
It's indeed entirely consistent with, I think, the role that we've played as a city in our country's history. So the book came out of three things. It came out of a pretty long-term conviction of our potential as a country. I mean, growing up as a child, working, when I started work, as I got more involved in the CII and other institutions, I mean, I just had this growing conviction of our potential. And I was always inspired by our potential, and I was always frustrated by our ability to not capture that potential at the same time sometimes. Second, coming off a year as president of CI, when you're president of CI, you go around and you meet lots of people. You meet lots of people in the union government. You meet lots of people in state governments, international governments, delegations, and so on. And it only reinforced that conviction of potential, because the people I met were committed. The people I met really wanted to do the best they possibly could, whether they were ministers, senior bureaucrats, whatever. And I also saw the other side of it. I was impressed by that commitment, by that hard work. I was depressed by a real interest in optics, sometimes over content, a real interest in in coming to a program and speaking extempo without preparation. When I would look at, if you go to a program with ministers from Singapore, for example, they will be incredibly well prepared.
Sure.
Everything worked out, all the data put together. Usually the data is more current than our own on India.
Yes.
So I mean, it's impressive, right?
Absolutely.
And we that's not how we operate. Yeah. So I came off that year really with this not only conviction of our potential, but I came out of that year with the conviction that we could actually play a part as a country in leading the world. That we actually had so much potential that if we simply played to our strengths, we could lead the world.
Sure.
But that also meant we needed to understand what we were good at, what we were not so good at,
Sure. Yes.
and design policy accordingly, and have the right expectations not only of the government, but have expectations of industry playing a role that was much beyond the normal role you would expect of industry in a country.
Yes.
And having an expectation of NGOs
Yes.
that goes much beyond the role that you normally expect of NGOs.
Yeah.
So, if you like, where I come out in the book is, if you expect the government to solve problems in India, I think we're on the wrong track.
That's right. Yeah.
We should expect industry to play a much bigger role,
And so on.
a bigger role in being more inclusive in its growth opportunities. For example, what Pramod talked about in terms of bioenergy, one of the great attractions of bioenergy is its inclusive aspect.
Yes.
You employ a lot more people because your source is agriculture and farming.
Yes.
And this involves then millions of people
Absolutely.
who get something productive to do, as opposed to getting the oil out of the ground from a few oil wells, which usually aren't in the country anyway. Yeah. So we can be much more inclusive. In industry, we need to be much more international.
International. Yes.
I think Pramod's company is a great example of that. We've been trying to learn from it, and it's to establish a reputation and to invest and do business around the world and build brands around the world.
Yes.
To be much more innovative.
Yeah.
By really trying to do a better job investing in R&D, not only improving your processes, but improving the products that we provide our customers, and see our customers as being the world market.
Yes.
So those three I's, inclusive, international, innovative, and supplemented by a fourth I, which is to be more independent. Right?
Yes, that's correct.
Too often, I think, if you look at industry in China follows the government's lead. Industry in quite a few other countries, the government plays a very major role. And when we would go around and meet people in these countries, I was always struck by how the bureaucrats we met seemed to be more capable and with it than the industrialists that we met. Right? It's not true in India. Right? And I think in India, industrialists have a role to play in speaking their mind, in saying what they think, and in developing their own views of what's right for the development of the country and the progress of the country.
Yes.
So to be more of those four eyes.
More on those four eyes.
So that's my expectation of industry. The third thing that prompted the writing of the book was the pandemic.
Okay. Yes.
So the pandemic.
You wrote that in the prelude.
The pandemic meant that I didn't travel out of Pune for 17 months. Never happened, even when I was a baby. And as a result, I had time to write.
Right.
And to do a lot of reading, to do a lot of writing. So, in a sense, I can thank the pandemic for
Every cloud has a
giving
silver
me that
lining.
opportunity
Sure.
of writing the book. So that's really what prompted the writing of the book. But I just wanted to make one last comment and to connect with what Pramod said. How would you go about fostering the right kind of sustainable solutions in a country like ours. Now, if you're Norway, maybe you rely on state capacity. You rely on the government deciding that these are the right technologies that one should pursue. If you're India, I don't think we should rely on the government making technology choices. Instead, I'm a firm believer in a carbon tax. Because if you actually, it's easy to implement. It requires very little in the way of state capacity. It's at one go you implement it, and it's technology agnostic.
Absolutely,
You end up, therefore, you would end up with a huge, powerful incentive to adopt the right kind of sustainable solutions, whether it's bioenergy, whether it's the adoption of electric vehicles, but provided the source of the electricity is then renewable, and if you're using coal to produce electricity and then you run an electric vehicle, where is the sustainability? I can't figure it out. If you use coal to produce electricity and then you produce hydrogen from an electrolysis process, where is the sustainability? I can't figure that out. So I think it's only where you use a carbon tax as a way of actually pushing the economy broadly in the right sustainable direction. And that's the kind of, if you like, policy intervention that I would advocate in the book. Don't rely on the state doing wonderfully detailed technical choices and little corrections here and there. Limit the intervention, make those limited interventions sensible and powerful, and then get out of the way and let things get on with
market
industry.
mechanism play out. So it's not about just the incentives, but also the penalty. That's the part of it. So Dr. Chaudhary, when I heard that I have to interview you, I had opportunity to read your book. And I think you have penned your memoir, your journey of how how you have come this far, and it amazed me. As someone from IIT, going abroad, as the trend was then and even now, was an easy option. And I could connect that because of your patriotic roots. Probably you said that no, I want to work in India, and then you have all these great multinational jobs. But I think somewhere at mid stage of your career, when you were just about getting into middle management and higher management, you decided that you want to pursue entrepreneurship. Now, talking of struggles, I would like to know from you that what were the struggles, because in these 4 decades you have seen pre-globalization era and now we are in the digitalization era. So many things have happened over a period of time. So how do you see that role in terms of struggle, and what message would you give to budding entrepreneurs, that how do you negotiate? Because negotiating struggles successfully is a hallmark of successful entrepreneur, and that's where you are, both seen, unforeseen. So would you be so kind to throw some light on it?
The struggles, I can call it as the challenges. Okay, struggle is little
Negative connotation.
Challenges
Is the right one.
And you can always convert challenges into
opportunities.
That's a good one. So it is the challenges, and converting those challenges into opportunities is a very, very exciting journey. Now, if I look at my individual level, and other thing is at the national level, and I like to take a little break to have both the parameters defined. The challenges in front of the countries are the 3 S: scarcity, scalability, and sustainability kind of thing. Whereas at the individual level, I started my industry during license Raj.
Exactly.
In 83. So there was a fearful animal sitting in corridors was DGTD.
Director General of Foreign Trade.
No, technical
development.
Technical development. DGTD. And they used to control all the capacities and all the permissions and all those things. Yeah. But till then, it was 83, it was very much there. And those were the real babus calling the shots. So that is the real challenge or the struggle. Then obviously there was a question of money. Getting where do we get a capital and all that.
That's right. Yeah.
So all this silver lining was a person like Narayan Vabhul, ICICI chairman. He believed in entrepreneurship, he believed in new entrepreneurs coming with venture capital. He was the first person to launch venture capital. Now it is very common today, but in 80s, mid-80s, venture capital was a new concept. Now I got a venture capital in the form of conditional loan, but then because it was a conditional loan, the banker was the RBI nominee. He said, no, this is loan. So you cannot go to the...
Okay.
It will not go the above line, it will be below the line. So that it becomes your net equity ratio is poor. So like that, every now and then, this bureaucracy was really making... So they were creating a lot of challenges. And the main time was going into struggle to solve those challenges. At the same time, there were a lot of opportunities were coming. Like this was the bioenergy was an ignored subject, neglected subject. I come from a rural background, so it was a good opportunity for me to work on this. So like that, there are both struggles, challenges, opportunities. I think I'll stop here, but there are many such examples are there. They are mentioned in this book. I learned a lot out of this, and maybe that helped me to have a successful journey thereafter.
But sir, quick on the top of your mind, 2-3 major learnings from those challenges that perhaps the audience can...
They are connected with, as I say that, okay, license Raj was always there, but we could not change the system. But money matters, yes. When you have a money, bankers run after you. If you don't have money, they ignore you. And this is the irony of this thing. So not to depend on them
was a major...
very strong this thing.
Sure.
So I mentioned in the book, cash is king. I learned
Cash
that.
is king. Oh, yeah.
Then the other thing was in the area of marketing. You can't depend on one region for your entire, all the eggs in your basket. You have to spread out. And those various ANSOP models are a typical example. He is a professor of management, so I have to be careful. So, new products, new territory, all those things. And because you are successful in one area, it doesn't give you a clean sheet to become successful in the other area. That is a big learning. Every case is a different, it has been taken on its own merits and parameters. So like that, there are many learnings from the new people. I feel that current generation is comparatively lucky. They are gifted this thing in terms of many things, which was not the case that time. I don't want to glamorize that, but yes, it was gives a lot of and I remember when I started my entrepreneurial career, I had to literally keep my car in the garage and I started moving with the Shavandam and that was what was required. Anyway, so those were the days I enjoyed.
I think all these struggles or challenges are captured, and how you came out of it is there in the book.
Here or not?
I think they have. The book is also outside available for people who are interested.
But I wanted to comment on something that Pramod said. I think the point about that, if the great bulk of the country was born today after liberalization, after 1991,
yes,
So if you take the proportion, over half of India, right? Today, over half of our population was born after 1991, right? Which says then that, when we talk about the license Raj, when we talk about the difficulty of doing business and the frustrations that we had, it's an alien concept. And it's important to remember, because it's very important to not move back in that direction, because it doesn't happen all at once. It happens step by step. So let me give you an example of something that's going on just now that I've been hearing about, which is bothering me, which is that, over the last 30 years, all governments, including the present one, has moved very substantially in reducing the involvement of the government in the public educational institutions. So, for example, IIM boards, IIT boards, etc., NID boards, they had industrialists or other professionals be the chairs, be a significant part of the boards, and there was always a government representative or two on the board. For some reason, in the last 6 months, there seems to be a move in the opposite direction. And I can't understand why. And it's not being talked about, and it should be talked about because it's very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
And there's a move to that when board terms finish, new boards are not being appointed, or the new board consists entirely of bureaucrats instead of having anyone from outside of the government. And that's not a healthy sign.
So past learnings are probably.
I think we're forgetting what we went through, and it would be to our own peril if we forget that.
So Naushad, talking about struggles or challenges, Prime Minister in yesterday's editorial, or after assuming the presidency of G20, said that climate change, pandemic, and global terror are the three major challenges, and he also gave a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam theme for our presidency term. So, do you think that these challenges are negotiable and we have a solution for it, or that we will continue? Because in your book, you also say that the frustrating part is things are not moving. Is the policy paralysis or rolling back of reforms?
No, I don't think actually that my view of reforms is actually quite positive for us as a country. In that I believe that the direction has generally been only positive. It's not systematic. Why something moves ahead when it does is not predetermined. We're not in that sense either China or Singapore, where it's all organized and planned. But we move forward.
Yeah.
Right. And for reforms to happen in our country, three stars need to line up.
Right.
You need to have a committed minister. You need to have a practical and informed bureaucrat as the secretary of that department. And you need to have all the preparation done so that you have clarity on what needs to be done.
Correct.
If those three things come together, then suddenly the reform happens. So
Fantastic. Yeah.
what I used to always argue in CI is that our job was to ensure that we had our homework done and the reforms were done and the detail worked out. So if those two things came into line and you had the right secretary and the right minister, then things would move. So it shouldn't be that now you got the right secretary, now you got the right minister, now you start the work and start getting things ready. You have things ready. It may not move, but then when the stars line up, the other two stars, it moves.
But there are successful examples
There
of
are
that.
There are
successful.
any number of examples, and this is a completely apolitical comment. It runs across all governments.
Regimes.
It runs across NDA, UPA, all governments.
Very interesting. Sir, moving forward, we come to the strength part, and you have seen the energy landscape evolve, and now there is a big talk of energy transition. Now, an economic like India, which is heavily dependent on fossil fuels for its survival, there are still clarion calls given for energy self-sufficiency. There are targets being set in terms of roadmap to achieving energy self-sufficiency. It is said that there is potential. What then are our strengths, and how we will achieve that energy self-sufficiency, which will also trigger developed nation status?
See, some of them are God's gift. Sunshine is the biggest gift.
Absolutely.
Which is not very common everywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Land is there many places.
Yes.
So, but this is something which is important. So whether it is solar, whether it is photosynthesis and the plant hormones, it is a very important thing. And then also the whole nature cycle of getting the rains and all that. The other aspect is the man-made aspect is there are a tremendous amount of innovative minds are around. Our people, I always believe that educated and innovative. Education gives rise to innovation. And the third, of course, element is now catching up with entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship, yes.
So that the dependence on the job requirement is shifting. Like employees are becoming employers. That is a very happy situation.
Correct.
So that you find more and more entrepreneurs. I mean, just now we met some girl here. She is passing out of the Flame College. She wants to do something to do with the drones. think very heartening to
Heartening.
learn about this kind of young generation, young minds, and they're the most creative minds compared to our age group or whatever it is. And I think that's a very
healthy sign.
healthy sign. This will lead to success. I'm a strong believer of that. And even IT also somehow it has not happened, but I think new products have not taken shape. We have done services that kept us happy, which is a educated level.
Yeah.
But I hope that one day even that will also change. You will get good creative minds to introduce the products. But that innovative minds is a very plus point.
Very positive.
It will definitely. The third part is which Dr. Mashelkar always say is that frugal engineering, which is a cost-effective developments, and those are the areas which, after China's little bit of anger about China, has created new opportunities for that kind
China
of
plus one,
potential. Of course, we should not get totally stuck up on that. We should still continue to, but that's the danger there. Again, it's the China plus one policy will give you a lot of
external
contracting work, but it's not that you will get a original work. So that has to be always balanced. So I'm sure there's a lot of opportunity on a variety of things. I'm sure Naushad can throw more light on this.
No, I fully agree. I think that, first of all, in terms of innovative minds, I'm a great believer in our environment actually fostering innovative thinking. Very often people criticize our school system and they say, rote learning, etc. And look, with the rote learning, how can you foster innovation? And I always say, I don't worry about it, because regardless of how much we might try to kill innovation in our kids in the classroom, the moment they step out of the school, they're confronted with the reality of India, which means that you have every kind of assault on your senses, and that simply is such a vibrant environment that regardless of how much we might try to kill the innovation in the classroom, it bounces back the moment the child walks out of the gate of the school. So I'm pretty positive actually about our ability to be thoroughly innovative as a society, because we're used to doing it on a day-to-day basis. I have a comment though about frugal engineering. I'm a skeptic, and there's a reason why I'm a skeptic. I believe we should develop products for the bottom of the pyramid. There I am 100% aligned with Dr. Mashelkar, because that's what expands the market. That's what's important to do for the good of people, and that's what changes the country and the world. So that part, 100% agree. How do you get there? I think you have to do the best possible job. Whether that's cheap or expensive doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the innovation that you carry out needs to be very high quality. And developing something that is the best for the bottom end of the market may actually require a lot of investment, and that's fine. So I am a believer in frugal manufacturing and in having a product that caters to frugal means, but not necessarily frugal engineering or frugal R&D.
There is a slight difference between the two. Perhaps more from less doesn't, not broad brush paint. Okay. Naushad, in your book, you stress about leadership, and you say that the leadership doesn't necessarily only have to come from government. In fact, you say less and less of government, more and more of firms or companies, and more of citizens. And then you also talk about this, we are talking about strength. So you talk about this economy, institution, and diverse culture. You are very gung-ho about it. So how do we leverage all these strengths to realize our potential? Because your book is about realizing potential.
So first for industry, yeah. So for industry, as I mentioned earlier, I have very high expectations and very high demands. I have those expectations of those 4 eyes. So I won't say more about that. You can read more about that. We can talk more about that afterwards. Institutions, why are institutions important for our kind of country? Institutions, independent institutions, matter because it's the collection of institutions that set the rules under which we operate. So we should not rely on a government to decide what's right to do. Rely instead on the combination of institutions.
Right.
Whether an institutions is everything from formal institutions, our educational institutions, the Supreme Court, all the court system in general, the Election Commission of India, the Reserve Bank of India. That's all of those are formal institutions. Institutions are also the laws under which we operate, and institutions are also the norms by which things get done. So what are those norms? And that's where you start getting into the cultural aspect. So institutions should set the rules under which we operate, because then we can each operate and do the best we can without any one person or group of people needing to decide what's right to do. Right? It's the institutions that determine that and frame the environment under which we can all operate as firms or individuals. The culture bit, I really think that we have in India, we have the most diverse culture of any country in the world by far. Right? We come in all shapes, sizes, colors. You look at the Northeast, look at the North, look at the West, look at the South. We have the multiplicity of languages, multiplicity of faiths, multiplicity of cuisines, multiplicity of dress, multiplicity of dance styles. I mean, multiplicity of crafts, of architecture. These are tremendous strengths because it means that India has something for everyone, right? We have something that is attractive for everyone. So if you believe in the rule of law, we have governments that want to control. If you believe in complete freedom of action, we have, sometimes almost anarchy in certain areas. Right? If you believe in very public-spirited businesses, we have some great public-spirited businesses in India. I think more public-spirited than in most other places.
Yes.
Right? If you believe in opportunities, you see fortunes being made by people who come from very humble backgrounds. Right? So we have something to offer everyone, and we should draw on that diversity to really, as a great strength that's available to all. And we should not try to homogenize, not try to say, this is what it means to be Indian, this is what it means.
Put in a box, kind of. No.
Go on the basis that we represent the world and we have something for everyone, and we can actually offer different paths, different alternatives, different opportunities for progress for everyone. And I think we should actually be very open to people coming to India from all over the world to work, to start companies, to become entrepreneurs here, and to become part of our own prosperity and growth in the future. And starting with we had a period of time where we had a real reverse brain drain, where we had lots and lots of NRIs returning to India. Very positive, very good thing to do. We should see much more of it happen, and we should make it really attractive for people to come from everywhere and be part of the Indian story, Indian growth story.
Fantastic.
Can I ask you?
Definitely.
Fantastic. Sir, what are your views?
Did you ever call
in this chair? No, the two things. What are the threats for India? If you can throw some, there's no mention of threats anywhere. Yeah. And secondly, is population growing population, is it a boon or a curse?
So let me start with the second question first. I think our growing
Incidentally, you're not married. So.
Okay, I'm not helping the growing population. I don't agree with you. I think our growing population is actually a great strength, right? There's a provided that follows that, which is that we have indeed a huge demographic dividend. We have a very young population, as Ravi mentioned earlier on. One of the youngest in the world. I was talking to someone earlier this morning who's from Belgium, and he said, we really have no engineers. We need to get some engineers. Can you train some engineers? And then, every year train 10 engineers who we'll recruit. Yesterday, I was talking to someone who said the same thing, except that he was from Switzerland. Last week, from someone from Japan saying the same thing. And you keep going, we have this abundance of talent which comes from our growing population. Now, the provided is what? The provided is that we have this huge young population with all the benefits that provides. But that young population needs to be educated and it needs to be productively employed. So those two are absolute requirements. We need to give them whatever input we can so that they have the ability to participate in the modern economy. So we must educate them in schools and colleges as best we possibly can, because that's how they can then be included in the economy. That's the best, the most solid way of including people in growth is education. Right? It's better than anything else. It's better than any handouts, better than any direct benefit transfers, etc. That's all to take care of immediate needs and distress. It's not the way to include. The way to include is to educate. Right? So that's the first.
But you studied the education system is such a big challenge on the village side.
It is, but we have big challenges in our education system. I agree with you. But we have the new education policy actually has a very sensible focus for school education. It says focus on one thing, only one thing. So it's very manageable. Second standard outcomes. Why? Because otherwise children learn how to read and do arithmetic at the second standard level in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th standard, which means that they really don't learn much else in school, because you need that basic capability of doing arithmetic and reading to learn anything else. So this single intervention of second standard outcomes is the right thing to focus on. So it's a very sensible approach. It needs to be properly financed and incentivized for the states to all move in that direction in a much more rapid way. Yeah. Employment, equally important. And how do we create millions of good quality jobs? So how do we really have a focus on labor intensive manufacturing, on the kinds of things that Pramod was talking about, so that millions of people are employed in agriculture and agro-processing industry, which again can put, it's really good. You're value adding from the ground and using your sun as your source of energy. Pretty fantastic. Yeah. So finding ways to put millions, and tourism, by the way, is my other big, as you know in the book. Yeah. So is the other big potential employer. Yeah. So these are the ways in which we can put millions of people to work in good productive jobs. And if we can, then our demographic dividend, our young growing population, will only be a strength. And not only will it be a strength for India, it will be a strength for the world. It enables us to lead the world, actually. So those are the two things we have to do. Now the struggle bit. Yeah. The threat. So the one thing that keeps me awake in the night, what I worry about. I worry about our current majoritarian impulses. And the reason I worry about that is because it has the potential to derail our progress. Why? Because look at it this way. We have 1.4 billion people. Is there anyone in the country who thinks that if you have 200 million disaffected people, it will help us as a country? It seems to me that, you can cheese off, I'm a Parsi, you can cheese off the Parsis completely, right? We don't matter, right? We're 0.01% or whatever of our population, right? But 200 million is a big number. And I think 200 million have to feel included in our growth and progress. And if they don't, then we're going to always have subpar performance. So I worry about that.
Shall we move forward? So, sir, now the third leg about future. And you have, Dr. Chaudhary, been a strong proponent of sustainable growth, and you have coined this concept of innovation grid. And you also talk about the upcoming trends. I think you have even written paper on Industry 5.0. So would you like to tell us what are those top 2-3 big trends that we will see going forward that will help us inch towards that elusive goal of developing developed economy?
See, this has to be appropriate to our requirements.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, I'm not looking at the European or those kind of countries.
Yeah.
In our area, this balancing between growth and sustainability is going to be a big requirement. Therefore, that Industry 5.0 is that, okay, you can't stop at 4.0. You have to include the bioeconomy as a part and parcel of that, which will give you that edge. Or they're talking about the robots should become, they're like having some of their mind.
Yes.
So
Collaborative robots.
so that people are thinking. But my point is that bioeconomy will play important role because you are dealing with the plants, agriculture, and population. So all those things and environment. So this three P's or triple bottom line, I think has been my principle of
for yes.
Real sustainability. It comes from that, and that's where the whole efforts of the development has to be in that direction. So it covers practically all aspects of environment, money, jobs, population, everything. So this is the way I look at it. The future is in that manner.
I think you are also in the background talking about 3 E's. Everyone, economy.
Yeah, same thing. 3 P's or 3 E's. And if you see those 17 SDGs, they are all interconnected.
All list through. Yeah.
So basically, that word sustainability is not only word for the sake of it. It is really having a very powerful meaning. And to bring it into practice is very critical to the whole progress. And I hope India will keep on doing those attempts, my belief.
Okay, so Naushad, going to you. You again, I'm going to go back to a little bit this thing about less and less government, more and more companies, because you believe that we have talent, we have companies, and they can really pull off a great future for our nation. How is the bigger question? So. Yes, the future, and this in your opening remark also you said that the frustration has been maybe the pace of progress or not our inability to pull all this through together. So how do you see in going forward all these elements coming together, whether it is government, corporations, and citizens working to common goals?
So I believe very much it's not, when I used to believe in less government. Right? I no longer believe in less government. I now actually believe in more focused government. Right? In other words, that government should do fewer things, but by doing fewer things, do them better.
Really well. Yeah.
Right? And what are those fewer things? So there are 6. Yeah. So primary education, especially school education, primary health. Right? We saw this as a need in the pandemic, of course.
Yes.
Right? Then the criminal justice system, right? Financial regulation, right? The tax system,
yes,
right? And going with the criminal justice system, if you like, police and law and order. Those are the 6 roles of the government, right? And the government needs to get those right and better, right? And this is when government, I'm using government as a generic term, union government, state governments, local governments. It's some things come under the state, some things come under the union, some things come under local. Yeah. So between them, we have to get those 6 things right. And if the government focuses on those things and really gets them right, then the rest of what needs to happen is what industry should worry about, what NGOs should worry about. By the way, when I was looking this up, we have the largest number of NGOs of any country in the world, right? Apparently, we have 3 million NGOs, which I think must count a lot of socially committed grandmothers, but it's okay. We have 3 million NGOs, which is wonderful, right? Let those NGOs, if you're Norway, you don't need the NGOs. There's no space to perform and play that role as effectively. We're India, so there is that space to contribute and do great things as an NGO. And we should rely on the NGOs. NGOs should hold industry to account, so they keep us honest, and it should help us deliver benefits to people at the end of the day. Primary education, primary health.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. One quick point Dr. Chaudhary mentioned, and I want to ask the same question to you, Naushad, that when talking about the risks, he mentioned the risk. Is it the global terror? Is it the big tech companies, Mama, all Meta, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet becoming too big to control? Is it cyber security? What are those three big risks, let's say, you see which can upset the apple cart?
So we have actually, there are laws on the books for against monopoly exploitation, right? So we have the Competition Commission of India, and the competition law has all the right provisions, and it has the provisions to protect society and the economy against that kind of concentration of power. It needs to practice and follow through and ensure that sectors are not, you do not have huge concentration that takes place in a particular sector, particularly infrastructure sectors. So we have the rules in place, and many countries have the rules in place. It's a matter of practicing them. The US has not been very good at practicing anti-monopoly, practices in recent years. It did until the 80s, and then somewhere along the way it decided to kind of step back and let whatever happen happen, and that was probably a mistake. And it shows in the concentration of the big tech companies now.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a matter of really ensuring that you do have good competitive markets, and that if you have certain firms that are getting very dominant in a particular industry, you do not let them acquire other companies. You actually stop that from moving ahead, because that's the way in which you ensure competitive markets.
All right. One last question, Dr. Chaudhary. Yourself, you and Nausha as well talked a lot emphasis on education. Yeah. So So I think you are trying some different experiments at IIT, whether it is innovation chair, whether it is continued education, or whether it is education for the teachers training. Would that be a game changer?
I think it is the need of the hour. Continuous learning is the need of the hour. It's also applicable to not only the students but also to the teachers. And both the two activities we have started, this one is for alumni.
Continuous learning.
Continuous education for alumni.
Alumni,
We have a new center we have launched there. And secondly, Center for Learning and Teaching. So this is also the concept which is becoming very important. There are not many colleges are
practicing that
in India. Overseas, it is common. Stanford is having some program in that direction. So I think this is to be.
So under that center, the professors sharpen and keep ahead of the curve.
What could be the way of new teaching, new way of learning, and then to match with those kind of things. So I think it's a very important thing. That is part of the education, higher education of that kind. I think that's the way I am trying to support IIT. Same thing for the alumni. You can't be keeping them changing some needs.
Fantastic. Such a vast topic. We could have gone on and on but all good things have to come to an end. Thank you, Dr. Chaudhary. Thank you, Naushad, for such insightful